The road trip from hell. What's the backstory here? Someone should be able to say what they think is right or wrong without being accused of bigotry. What's up, everybody? Thank you so much for watching. Welcome to another video. And in this video, I am responding to a comment that was left on my channel by mikeonmindy. So I kind of love and hate this kind of video. So responding to comments is pretty important to me. I've gotten to the point where it's like, if people are just leaving hateful comments, you know, as opposed to just doing a smart-ass remark, I just kind of ignore it at this point. But every now and then, if someone puts this much effort into a comment, then I like to respond to it, especially one that has this much hate in it. Yeah, this person really hates women, and it's so clear in this comment. It's ridiculous. So yeah, that's kind of why I'm responding to it. I feel like it just deserves a response. I want to say my piece on it, and then move on. The reason I kind of don't like this kind of stuff is because it's a distraction. I'm behind on other videos, so it's kind of stupid to take time out of my day to even do this. But like I said, I think it's important to respond to certain things. And he raises up things that are very sexist that I am noticing more and more. Granted, I've watched a lot of videos from sexist channels just to kind of see what was out there, so I kind of opened a Pandora's box, and I'm getting all these recommendations on YouTube to videos that are just absolutely terrible and trash women and are by people who hate them or think they should only be this one certain type of thing and that's it, or they're useless. So I kind of got myself down this little rabbit hole. But anyways, I really want to take this comment piece by piece, but let me just start by just reading it in its entirety, and then I will go through it. Also, let me just give you guys a little bit of background. So I want to say a little over a month now, I made a video about a live stream from Tomi Lahren. Now, she was basically trying to just like give men pointers and stuff, but it basically turned into this anti-man rant. I don't know if that's what she originally intended, but it went viral fast and there was a lot of backlash. And to me, one of the things that I found so ironic about it, what really made me upset about it, was because I've seen so many videos of her going on about how feminists are terrible because they hate men and they're anti-men and so on and so forth. And here she is saying literally that men are trash. You know, that's what made me want to make the video. You know, she's been lecturing me about all this shit for her entire life, and now but it's okay for her to do? Oh honey, oh sweetheart, oh honey. So that's why I made the video. That was the motivation behind it. That was the thinking behind it. So once I made that, of course, I was obviously getting a lot of recommendations from YouTube about the Tomi Lahren video. But a lot of the videos out there are not criticizing her for what she deserves to be criticized for. Instead, they're criticizing her literally for being a career woman, saying that she's trying to be too much like a man. You know, it's really sad that so much of that bullshit is out there. Apparently, look, I didn't like what Tomi said in her video, but apparently a lot more men out there are trash than I fucking realized. That I will say, that it was eye-opening. And I made a second video defending her. But anyways, I've been going through some of these videos. I left a comment on one that I thought was pretty ridiculous for the same reasons I've thought a lot of the other ones were ridiculous. This guy I noticed was also commenting on that. So most likely he clicked on that comment, clicked on my name, maybe scrolled through my videos and left this comment on my channel. So that's how we got here. This is for mikeonmindy, and here is the comment that was left. You women decided in the 60s that careers were more important than having babies. Our fertility rate has been declining ever since and has been below replacement for decades. During the same time, you have embarked on a campaign of demonizing, vilifying, demeaning, denigrating, belittling, and shaming men. You have abused men in every way imaginable using the state and celebrated doing these things. In recent years, telling us we're all inherent rapists with toxic masculinity. And then you supported the hashtag #PoundMeToo movement, designed to strip all males of the presumption of innocence, due process, elevate yourselves to listen and believe, and discard the need for evidence. Fundamental rights of our legal system and society denied to a group of people based on an immutable characteristic is bigotry. Thanks for informing me. Your support for this bigotry revealed yours. So now men are walking away from the traditional male role just like you women have. Of course, when you do it, you're empowered. When we do it, we're selfish losers. You women created this mess. You clean it up. We're not going to. Oh, sweetie. No one wants you to clean anything up. No one wants you to do anything. After comments like that, I think all of us women just want you to kind of stay the fuck out of the way, to be quite frank. Okay, so let's start at the beginning. You women. Okay, this guy obviously has hatred for women. Not just feminists, but women in general. That's not my fault, honey. I can't do anything about that. I can't do anything for you. I'm not sorry for being a woman, and I'm not sorry for making comments that defend women against sexist bullshit like yours. Okay? This whole comment is just fucking ridiculous. You women? Really? I bet you're out there complaining about anti-men videos, anti-men content. I really haven't looked too much. I noticed your comments, but I don't remember what they were. I don't remember which one you were, and I don't feel like looking it up because you're not that important, sweetheart. You're just not. But yeah, you're out here making anti-women comments, but I'm sure you're probably offended by anti-men content. And that really goes to show just the circular logic. There's nothing wrong with being offended by content that targets a group that you're a part of. So when men complain about propaganda that they view as being anti-men or targeting men in some way, I completely accept that they want to respond to it. I support that they want to respond to it, and I think they should respond to it. But when they're also putting out propaganda themselves that is very anti-women, it gets a little hard to take you seriously. I can't really, I'm not on board anymore. I don't care how you feel. That's the point we're at, sweetie. If you don't care how we feel, then why the fuck should we care how you feel? Okay? Alright, decided in the 60s. I wasn't even fucking there, bitch. I wasn't even fucking there. What do you want me to do about it? Honestly. You women decided in the 60s. I was not part of this group that was there in the 60s. I'm assuming you're referring to a certain part of the feminist movement that you have a problem with, which is cool and all, but I wasn't fucking there. I wasn't fucking there, so why are you holding it against me? Again, you're holding it against me because I'm a woman. I'm a woman who spoke up and left a comment in defense of women. That's all it is. That's all it is. That's the only reason you are coming at me with this hate. There is nothing logical. There is nothing rational about it. But I guarantee you this guy thinks that men are more logical thinkers than women. Decided in the 60s that careers were more important than having babies. Okay. Alright. So, here's the thing. Okay? It's okay for women to want more in life than having babies. It is okay for women to want that. And for a long time in our society, there were a lot of blockades to women pursuing certain careers. And as far as, staying at home is concerned, for one thing, there are many opportunities for women to pursue careers and still be at home or work from home or spend most of their time at home. So just keep in mind, a woman pursuing a career does not mean that she's constantly spending time in the office, that she's constantly away from her kids, that she's constantly away from the home. That's not necessarily what it means when a woman pursues a career. However, with certain careers, obviously, you can't just work from home or even work part-time from home. You have to be at a certain location. You have to go to certain locations. Maybe you have a career that involves a lot of travel. And someone else is watching your kids. There are certainly women in those circumstances. But here's my question. A lot of these men's rights groups and MGTOW and all that shit, they want to talk about how fathers are undervalued. Oh, fathers are undervalued. Okay. Well, then why is it so acceptable for fathers to be out of their kids' lives? Why is it so acceptable for fathers to have careers? Why is it so acceptable for fathers to be out of the home? If they're so goddamn important, why don't you insist that they spend more time at home? No, you insist that the women do. But you're offended if anyone acts like the women are more important. Make up your mind, sweethearts. Which is it? Which is it? And another thing. these right-wing men want to go on and on about how, men need to be more masculine and so on and so forth, and a lot of them consider themselves very patriotic. Well, stop telling women that we need to appreciate and respect the American dream if we can't partake in it. There is nothing wrong with a woman having a career, and delivering your fucking babies does not have to be our priority. Some of us, like myself, don't care about babies. If that hurts your little feelings, I don't give a fuck. Next comment. Our fertility rate has been declining ever since and has been below replacement for decades. I thought about looking that up and comparing and contrasting, today's birth rates with, 40 years ago or whatever, but honestly, I just don't even care enough. It's not just about the United States of America. A lot of people who live in the U.S., especially who are born here, like to think that the U.S. is like the only place in the world, and it's not. There's a whole world out there full of lots of different countries and lots of different cultures, and we're overpopulated. We are seriously overpopulated. It is a good thing. It is a good thing if birth rates are declining. And frankly, having babies, that's not really a measure of any form of success. Okay, if people are having babies, well, are those babies growing up into be successful people? Are those babies growing up into immoral people? Are those babies growing up in at least somewhat stable environments? Are those babies growing up with love? Are those babies, what's happening to those babies? And that's the problem. You people don't fucking care what happens to these babies. You just want them to fucking be born. And I don't understand that. I don't understand when people obsess with the birth rate and just tell people we should be having more babies, we should be having more babies. No. Where do you think a lot of these babies end up? Let's get our foster care system under control first. Let's get so many kids out of foster care before we encourage people to have more babies. Let's get the world's population under control before we encourage people to have more babies. I'm not saying anyone out there should feel guilty about wanting to have a baby, but this mindset that it's just a rite of passage that everyone should do just when they become an adult, or when they become, when they come into their late teens, no. No, that's not a good idea, okay? Abuse, neglect, those are real things. I'm sorry if you don't want to hear that, but they are. And I find that when people talk about how we should focus on bringing up the birth rate and things like that, they really don't focus, they're not as interested in talking about a lot of these other issues that actually affect how these babies are raised and whether or not they're raised in a healthy environment and so on and so forth. If you're not willing to talk about those things, then don't encourage people to have babies. If those things don't matter to you, don't tell me you care about babies. You just care about something you can put on your resume as an adult. That's it. That is not important. If that is why you want to have a kid, then you should not have a kid. You should hold yourself to a higher standard. Okay, next comment. This was probably my favorite part. During the same time, you have embarked on a campaign of demonizing, vilifying, demeaning, denigrating, belittling, and shaming men. You have abused men in every way imaginable using the state, and celebrated doing these things. Can I see a little bit of evidence? Again, this has nothing to do with me. This has nothing to do with me. This guy doesn't know jack shit about me, and he doesn't care. I'm a woman who made a comment that was pro-women, so as far as he's concerned, I am the enemy, and it's just that simple. I mean, now, I definitely do have an aggressive side. I can be a bitch sometimes. I'm not saying that I'm always this sweet little person who never bothers anybody, or who never acts out, or who never, I don't know, whatever. But I do not seek men out for the purpose of shaming them and belittling them. But if I belittle or shame anybody or denigrate anybody, it's usually unintentional behavior, or it's because of something else that is going on. It's not, oh, this person is a man, let me do what I can to hurt them. Let me make their day go bad. Do you think that's really how women think? I mean, Look, I'm sure there's probably some women out there who think like that, sure, but holy shit, that is not how the majority of us think. I promise you. I promise you. We are not targeting men just for the purpose of targeting men. I feel like a lot of feminists kind of think this way in terms of thinking, oh, this person says something really mean to me, it's because they're sexist. Well, not necessarily. That person was having a bad day and you were just in the way. That sometimes that's really all it is. It's not about someone hating you because you're a woman. Not everything bad that happens to you in life is because people hate you because you're a man. I'm sorry if I'm destroying your victimhood mentality right now, but that's just the reality of life. People take so many things just the absolute wrong way. And as far as using the state, honey, when have I ever used the state against a man? I've never sued anybody. I've never taken anybody to court. I have not used the state against any man. I promise you. I promise you, sweetheart. This is just you projecting a bunch of goddamn bullshit on me that has nothing to do with me. I didn't do any of this. In recent years, telling us we're all inherent rapists with toxic masculinity. Really? All inherent rapists with toxic masculinity. Okay, a lot of men who want to be offended by the phrase toxic masculinity don't actually take the time to understand what people mean by it. Now, I have seen some presentations that are absolutely ridiculous, okay? that basically expect men, it's kind of like people who preach white guilt. There are some presentations out there that are pretty sick. I will give you that. Some of the presentations I've seen on toxic masculinity have been absolutely awful. I also don't like the phrase toxic masculinity in general because I feel like you just never hear the phrase toxic femininity. And yeah, women can definitely be toxic too. It's not just the guys. I feel like that is a very sexist thing. But toxic masculinity is basically your whole comment. Okay, that's what people are generally complaining about. Yes, there are the extremists who will take it to an extreme, but for the most part, when people are talking about toxic masculinity, they're talking about comments like this from people who just hate all women. Clearly, you hate women. You hate women. I can't do anything about that, sweetheart. I really can't. I can't do anything for you. I mean, I don't know what to tell you, bud. I really don't. If you don't like women, that's your fucking problem, not mine. It's not my problem to solve. It's not my problem to deal with. It's not my problem to worry about. I mean, I kind of hope you change and at least maybe become a little bit more enlightened, but I ain't holding my breath. I can't do shit about it. If you want to be a negative, bitter, hateful little bitch in life, that's your call. That is your decision. That is your personal responsibility. No one is responsible for that but you. And if you can't take responsibility for that as a grown man, that's your problem. As far as inherent rapists, again, you're talking about something very extreme, okay? There are very few women who believe that all men are rapists. But if you want to talk statistics, I mean, statistically, am I more likely to be raped by a man or a woman? I mean, that's a real head scratcher. You know, I would give you the benefit of the doubt that you're coming from a good place, but based on how much hate I've already read at this point, I'm not going to do that. So when you complain about men all being inherent rapists, I'm not even assuming you're talking about extremists. I'm assuming you see a video of a woman saying, I think women shouldn't be raped and get offended. Like, I have no hope for you. I have no hope for you. You're just lost. And then you supported the hashtag #PoundMeToo movement, designed to strip all males of the presumption of innocence, due process, elevate yourselves to listen and believe, and discard the need for evidence. Fundamental rights of our legal system and society denied to a group of people based on an immutable characteristic is bigotry. Okay, sweetheart. First of all, how much do you know about me? How do you even know whether or not I even defend the Me Too movement? How do you know I've supported it? How do you know any of that? Oh, that's right, you don't. You just saw that I was a woman, saw that I made a pro-woman comment, and that's all you need to know. The facts don't matter. The facts aren't relevant here. Who cares, right? That's bigotry, sweetheart. That is bigotry. And as far as the Me Too movement is concerned, I'm kind of torn, to be honest with you. I think it came from a very good place, and I think that the whole point was just to show how common this stuff is, and it did that. And then, of course, and unfortunately, I think a lot of activists have kind of turned it into something very negative. But here's the deal, okay? If a woman speaks, you know, you talk about due process. If a woman says something happened to her publicly, and the guy she's accusing loses his job, that's not her fault, okay? That is the fault of the company. Companies need to have a system in place to handle accusations. And one thing the Me Too movement has revealed a lot of issues in our society. One of them being that people can lose their jobs over just an accusation, that people can lose their careers over just an accusation. Now, a lot of this stuff isn't really all that new, but I think it's brought to light the problem, and I think that that's a very positive thing. We need to have due process. If someone makes an accusation, someone shouldn't just be fired. But here's the thing about believe all women, because a lot of people criticize that and think that it automatically implies that due process does not matter. That's not what it implies. What it implies is that you believe someone enough to actually think about it. You believe someone enough to actually have an investigation. If someone is not initially believed and instead greeted with, oh, that person wouldn't do that, or that story doesn't sound very believable, then there is no investigation and there is no justice for her either. That should matter as well. If you only care about justice for men, don't fucking lecture me about bigotry. Spare me the bullshit. Okay, next. Where even are we? Your support for this bigotry revealed yours. Really? Really doesn't? I'm heartbroken. So now men are walking away from the traditional male role just like you women have. Who fucking cares? Who fucking cares? I don't care. I don't care what you fucking do, sweetheart. Ain't nobody care. Ain't nobody care. I don't know what makes you think you are so important that you can leave a comment like that and I'm gonna fucking give a shit. I don't care. Walk away from your traditional male role. Go ahead. I don't fucking care. And a lot of women who want careers instead of families, or want both, but particularly women who want careers and not families, who don't want traditional roles, they would be more than happy to see you walk away from traditional male roles. More than happy. Bye. No one cares. No one. It doesn't matter. Bye. Of course, when you do it, you're empowered. But when we do it, we're selfish losers. Who is calling you a selfish loser for saying that you want to walk away from traditional male roles? Who's saying you're a loser? Other men? Okay, then go talk to the men, sweetheart. Go talk to the men, sweetie. You don't have shit to say to me. I don't care what you do. But I'm not going to call you a loser for it. Pursuing what you want in life is not being a loser. Pursuing what you want in life is standing up for yourself and pursuing what you want in life. That's all it is. I mean, that's all it is. Literally. No, you're not a selfish loser. You created this mess, you clean it up, we're not going to. What's the mess exactly? See, that's the problem. I'm still not clear on what the actual mess is. You might want to clarify that. I don't see a mess, I don't see a problem. You know, you view women having goals and having opportunities besides being a mother and wife as a problem. And I fucking don't. There's no mess to clean up. Are there some things that extreme feminists do that I don't like, that I think deserves a response to? Absolutely. There are a lot of things that feminist organizations will do and say that I will not support. Not at all. But there's not a mess to clean up. If we don't want to have babies, then we don't want to have babies. And if we want to have babies on our terms, then we want to have babies on our terms. It's our bodies. We're not your fucking slaves anymore. Believing that, knowing that, living that, is in no way a problem. So, don't worry about cleaning up the mess. There's none to clean up.